YouTube and welcome to another video. This time we're coming at you from outside my apartment with my ugly R6 here. And we're going to show you how to ride this thing. Because I'm making this video for a rider who has just bought a brand used 2006 R6, which is very similar to my 2005 R6. And he has no idea what he's doing. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is learn how to use the brakes. So bring it in here, come onto the other side of me if you can. Yeah, look at the bike. Whatever, this is just an overview of the bike. Come over here, stand over there. Get a nice view of my hand here on the brakes. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put the bike in neutral. I've already got the bike in neutral. We're going to pick the bike up and stand here on the right side, and we're going to work the brakes a little bit, okay? So keep this zoomed in on my hand. I like to use 2 fingers, but if you like 3 fingers, that's fine. Or if you like your whole hand, that's fine. What you want to do is have a nice, comfortable grip and just practice squeezing this brake lever, okay? Don't move the bike, just practice squeezing the brake lever with the different fingers until you find the fingers you like, all right? Next thing you're going to do is back up a little bit. Thank you. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to start pushing the bike forward nice and slow, and you're going to squeeze the brake lever until it resists. And then let go. That's it. You're not going to squeeze it until it stops the bike. You're going to squeeze it until it resists the movement. So I'm going to roll back a bit here as far as I can, and I'm going to squeeze the brake lever until it resists, and then stop. Okay? So again, just push it forward nice and slow. Squeeze until it resists, which is right about here for me. Then let go. Do it again. Squeeze until it resists, and let go. Do that at least 20 times. I'm not going to do it 20 times now because that's boring as heck. Okay, but once you've done that and you've got that down and you kind of get the feel, like right there, you're gonna move it to the next step. You're gonna squeeze the brake lever nice and slow. Nice and slow. See how I'm doing this? See how slow I'm doing this? You're going to squeeze the brake lever about like that until the bike stops moving, okay? So you're going to push the bike forward. You're going to squeeze it until it stops moving. That's it. Now roll it back. Squeeze it until it stops moving. Push it forward. Squeeze it until it stops moving. Do that like 100 times. I'm not kidding. Do that over and over again until you've gotten it. Now, what you're trying to look for here is not upsetting the suspension. Look at the difference. I'm going to do this wrong a couple times, and then I'm going to do it right. So Pat, focus right here on the suspension, okay? Watch what happens when I do this wrong. I'm going to push forward. Do you see how the suspension compressed like that? I'm going to do it a couple more times. Watch how the suspension compresses. You don't want that to happen. That's really bad. See how I even heard the fuel slosh around in the tank. You don't want that to happen. You want to squeeze nice and slow so the bike comes to a nice controlled stop without any suspension movement really at all, okay? Nice controlled until the bike comes to a complete stop without really upsetting the suspension at all. Can you see that? Okay, so let's put the bike down. Nice and easy. And we're going to go over some of the more basic controls of the bike. So come over here onto the other side, and let's turn the motorcycle on. So I'm going to, obviously, I got the bike in neutral. You can have the bike in neutral or in first gear, but I would recommend neutral. You turn the key on. I haven't started this bike. Look, this bike is freezing cold. I have not started it in like 2 weeks. Easy. So let's turn this bad boy on. You push the key in, sometimes it can be a little finicky. Make sure your kill switch, mine's off. Make sure your kill switch is on. And press the button. And that's all you do. So first thing you gotta understand, let's back away a little bit to keep the volume down. The first thing you gotta understand is that you don't want to ride or rev your motorcycle while it's cold. My bike is extremely cold. It hasn't been used in like 2 weeks. So come here and let me show you how to tell if your bike's cold or not. So what you're going to want to do, stay on that side, stay on that side. What you're going to want to do is look at the dash right here. Now, your 06 dash is not going to look like this. I believe all the instruments here are actually going to be on the other side. But what you're looking for is a little Fahrenheit gauge, and it's going to say low. While it's saying low, that basically means do not ride your bike. Wait and let it idle until it comes up. Okay? Good. So these are the basic things. Keep this in mind. Until you're familiar with the brakes of this bike and how much brake pressure it takes to stop this motorcycle, do not ride it. Do not turn it on. Don't play with the clutch. Don't do anything besides playing with the brakes until you're familiar with them, all right? So the next thing you're going to want to do, so step over here, is put your gear on. Now, I'm not going to put my gear on. I'm a pretty experienced rider, and I'm not really going anywhere, so it's going to be fine. But for a more experienced rider, you're going to want to put your gear on, okay? So you're going to want to do what the MSF course teaches, okay? Seriously, on an R6, do what the MSF course teaches, which is playing with the clutch. So let me show you. Bike is in neutral. You're going to set on the bike. You're going to pick the kickstand up. Now it finally started warming up, so it's at 100 plus degrees and it's ready to go. You're going to actually play with the brakes a little. See? I put just enough pressure on the bike to keep it from moving. Get used to that. That's what you're going to need. You're going to pull the clutch in, and you're going to put the bike in the first gear. Now I pressed up to put the bike in the first gear. Now I have a Grand Prix shift on my bike. You're going to press down to put the bike in the first gear, okay? So everything I do on the shift lever here, you do the opposite. So I press up, you press down. I press up, you press down, okay? So keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come over here to the right. Anyways, thank you. Come over here to the right. What you're going to see here is you're going to see me rev the bike. So that's the very first thing you're going to do. You're going to grab the throttle just a little bit, okay? And you're going to twist the throttle until the revs build to about 4,000 RPMs. 4,000 RPMs, okay? Nice and slow. Watch my hand. And then let go. Let's do that 2 more times. So grab the throttle, nice and gently as you can, but still get a purchase on it, and twist it. That's it, 4,000. All you want is 4,000. That's about as much throttle as you need to get moving on this motorcycle. If you give it more throttle than that, you're going to have a bad time as a beginner, okay? So the next thing you're going to do is actually get this motorcycle moving without any throttle. So come over here to the left, please, my photographer here. Watch my hand. Now, personally, I use all the fingers on my clutch. But if you like to use 3, if you like to use 2, if you like to use 1, you can. Notice how the bike is, even though the clutch isn't pulled in all the way, oops, sorry. Notice how the clutch isn't pulled in all the way, but the bike's not moving. I personally like 4 and pulling it in all the way, but if you like 3, 2, or 1, that's okay. But I like 4. So what you're going to do is you're going to slowly come up here and kind of show me a top-down view. Come over here. And kind of look top-down at the clutch like this. What we're going to do is I'm going to slowly let the clutch out. The bike is eventually going to start moving, so be very careful and don't freak out. Notice how the bike's moving. The bike is literally moving forward here. Notice the revs are dropping and the bike is moving. Look at this, I can walk the bike forward, no throttle. Keep your hand on the bars, but no throttle. I can walk the bike forward. And as you let the clutch out more, this effect becomes more and more pronounced. So again, practice this like 100 times. It's not going to hurt your bike, okay? Practice this like 100 times. Let the clutch out. And then again, you notice how I slowed the bike down by applying nice, smooth brake pressure that didn't compress the forks. Now, as I'm backing the bike up, I'm applying nice, smooth brake pressure that slows the bike down and lets me be in control. Everything I'm doing here is about control. This is lot of motorcycle. This motorcycle probably has more power to weight ratio than any car you have ever driven or will as a normal human being ever drive. So keep that in mind. So let's bring the bike out, and I'm gonna go to the left here, okay? Photographer, I'm gonna go up here to the left, and I'm gonna just ride the bike down the road a little bit. We've done this 100 times. I'm just gonna give it a tiny little bit of throttle, like 4,000, like this, and then I'm gonna let the clutch out. Nice and slow. And then I let the clutch out and stop. Nice and easy. Did you see how smooth that was? Did you see how smooth that was? You're gonna want to practice that like at least 20 or 30 times. So again, grab the bike a little bit, let the clutch out. Turning, but again, same fundamentals apply. I've got the bars at full lock, and I'm going to do the same thing. All right, so now I'm going to pull back into the parking spot, and we're going to talk about a few more things, and then you can go have a little bit of fun on your motorcycle. Ignition off, kill switch off, kickstand down, step off the bike. Now do all this as a beginner rider with your gear on, okay? So let's keep that in mind. This is gonna be the end of part 1 of this video. I really thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and we're gonna have part 2. All right, guys, welcome to part 2 of your beginning ride on your R6 video. Now, you've gotten your first ride out of the way, right? We worked on the brakes, got a good feel for the brakes. We worked on the clutch, we got a good feel for the clutch, and we started moving the bike around. So at this point, you're pretty much ready to get out there and ride. Now, unfortunately, you don't know a whole lot of skills. Now, this is where I'm going to defer to some of the experts, right? This is where Moto Jitsu comes in. This is where white belt for Moto Jitsu comes in. Until you can do white belt pretty comfortably, you don't have much business on the road. Now, the whole white belt, yeah, is well and good. And honestly, until you can do the whole thing, I would stay off those mean streets, especially with an R6. But let me go over what I think personally are the most important aspects of white belt. The first one is emergency braking. So you're gonna wanna ease into emergency braking. Remember what we were doing with the brakes, with the bike, just pushing the bike around, how we were easing on the brakes, applying just enough pressure to get the bike to stop in time. That's what you're gonna wanna do for white belt. Get into the habit of just easing on the brakes, and don't worry if you go past the 25 feet, try it again. Ease on the brakes a little more quickly. It'll stop a little faster. Again, do it a little more quickly. And now ease on the brakes until you're easing on the brakes quickly and progressively enough to successfully complete the white belt challenge. All right? Then do it again. Do it again. Do it again. See how much you can ease on the brakes to actually come to a stop quicker than what I believe is 25 feet. Maybe increase your speed just a little bit and see if you can still come to a stop within those 25 feet. Okay? That'll get you nice and good on the brakes. If you're confident on the brakes, you're going to be confident out there on the streets, hopefully. The next thing is all those low speed maneuvers, okay? Now on an R6, you can't go very slow without pulling the clutch in. So you're going to need to get really good with that clutch. Remember how I told you to practice just pulling forward 100 times and then pulling the clutch in. What you're going to want to do is find that point. just where the clutch isn't engaged. So pull the clutch in just enough to where the bike doesn't move forward at all. You're going to want to find that point and really get used to it, because you don't want to pull the clutch in all the way while you're doing Moto Jitsu stuff. You want it kind of pulled in about halfway. And then when you let it out just a little bit, the clutch starts to catch. Because when you're doing your U-turns and you're doing your swerves and you're doing the circle, you're going to want to be able to let that clutch out and pick up some speed, because picking up speed is going to help you a ton to keep you from falling over. Now, one thing is, I really hope your bike has frame sliders, okay? Because the chances of you falling over in some clumsy maneuver on an R6 when you're a beginner are really, really high. I've fallen over on my R6 a couple times. Now, one thing, if you're going 5 miles an hour or less, don't be scared to put your foot down to help balance. Now, if you're going above 5 miles an hour, keep your feet on the pegs, because if you let your feet up off the pegs and you're going, say, 10 or 15 miles an hour and you put your foot down, it might mess up your knee. It's a heavy bike. The R6 is a pretty heavy bike. It's like 430 pounds. You really don't want to be fighting 430 pounds with your knee. It's going to hurt. It's going to mess your knee up. It's going to give you problems for the rest of your life. Don't do it. It's better just to take that fall like a man than it is to hurt your knee, okay? Keep that in mind. So now let's say you completed white belt. What are your next options? Well, you're gonna get out there on the mean streets. So the next thing you need to really focus on is road strategy, okay? So I want you to get out there and just cruise around like you were in a crappy Honda Civic. I want you to go out there on the mean streets and just cruise around like you were in a crappy Honda Civic, but do what you do while you're in a crappy Honda Civic. Don't use the acceleration of the bike to get you in trouble. That's not good. Keep yourself out of trouble by using proper lane positioning, by using proper vision. Vision is key, right? Especially when you watch those white belt videos. Vision is key. Vision is key when it comes to traffic as well. You need to keep your eyes open. You need to use your mirrors. You need to use your peripheral, and you need to use your forward vision all together to keep yourself kind of separated from all the cars around you. Now, when you come up on, say, controlled or uncontrolled intersections, where cars can make lefts, cars can make rights, cars can make U-turns, all that good stuff, you want to maybe consider, hey, is there a car that could potentially turn out in front of me? If that's the case, maybe I should roll off and cover the brakes just in case. So that's all well and good. Now that's part 2 of this video, right? That's getting yourself started with Moto Jitsu and then getting yourself out there on the streets for the first few times. Have a great time. Enjoy your R6. Don't be scared to fall at low speeds, because honestly it's going to happen. And think about your riding every time you go out there.